Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Taft City Council meeting, Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for Tuesday, May 21st. As always, tonight we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Randy Miller and an invocation by Howard Tello of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Please rise.
Will you join me as we salute our nation's flag? Have your hand over your hearts and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. We thank you, Father, for the opportunity that you've granted us to be here as leaders of this community of Taft. And we pray your blessing over our meeting. We pray your blessing over the things that are discussed, the issues that are discussed, the agenda items that we have to discuss. And I pray that you will guide us always. We pray in the name of Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Tello, thank you. First item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing. We will conduct a public hearing regarding the increase of rates for refuse services, count written protests received, and if no majority protest exists, approve proposed refuse rates. Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. Staff has worked with MBS to complete a sewer rate study and identify the revenue necessary to fund expected expenses of the city's sewer collection system. In order for revenues to meet expected expenses needs, sewer rates and charges will need to be adjusted to provide sufficient funding for all costs starting 2013 and 14 and for the subsequent 4 years. Charge for sewer services are property-related charges subject to Proposition 218 and a majority protest proceeding. February 19, 2013, Council approved the mailing of notices to affected property owners and ratepayers calling for a public hearing. One written protest per parcel filed by an owner or tenant of the parcel shall be counted in calculating a majority protest to the proposed increase in rates. Though the parcel shall be counted in calculating a majority protest and proposed increase in rates, if no majority protest exists, Council may approve the resolution adopting the proposed sewer service rates. Total number of affected properties, 3,116.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. At this time, I will open the public hearing and invite anyone wishing to speak in opposition to these rates to please come forward. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in favor of the rates? Seeing none. Now, do we continue the public hearing while you guys count, or can I close the public hearing?
You have to close it first.
Okay. And the public hearing is closed, and go ahead, do the motion. All right. Oh, my cliff notes here. Well, maybe that's not a good thing.
I have a correction to make.
Yes, ma'am.
I copied the wrong number. It's, on the refuse rates, it's 3,151 was the properties that were sent to.
Oh, I have that on my report. Oh, on refuse or sewer? Yeah, I have
Refuse.
I have 3,151 total parcels.
Okay.
So we good?
The one that I read, this was for sewer rates.
Okay,
On
so
the agenda, number one is
Did we get them mixed up?
refuse, and the one I read was for sewer.
Okay, we'll do sewer first then.
We're going to be doing the sewer first.
oh, we're going to do sewer first. Okay.
They were backward.
Who's on first?
Sewer, number 2.
Okay, so we're on item number 2, just to clarify, and we are now talking about the increase in sewer service rates. And so I'm going to go, just to make it clear, I'm going to go ahead and go through a public hearing one more time. So I will open the public hearing on the sewer rates and invite anyone wishing to come and speak in favor of or opposition to these rate increases. Seeing none, I will now close that public hearing, and we will move on. And I'm supposed to read this dialogue here, so just bear with me. If at any time you oppose the proposed rate increases, you should have submitted a formal written protest in person at the public hearing, sent it via postal mail, or hand-delivered to the city clerk's office. Protests must be submitted in writing, including the property owner's ratepayer's name, contain a description of the affected property or properties for which the protest is entered. That would include the assessor's parcel number or address, and be signed by the property owner, ratepayer. Faxed or emailed protests are not acceptable. If you plan to send a written protest via postal mail, please make sure that it was in the appropriate envelope. So that's just our disclaimer saying that we've got a process here, and that process has been completed. And now we're going to go into counting. So if you'll just bear with us, we have to review all the protest votes.
Okay, I'm going to open all these yellow envelopes, and in the yellow envelopes are the protests for the sewer utility rate increases. I'm going to open them, hand them off to Teresa Binkley. She will verify that the information that is needed is on each protest, and then she will hand it back to me, and I will record the vote. And if the information is not what is needed, then she won't give them back to me.
Okay.
But it's a technicality that has to be followed.
Well, this is about the funnest thing I've ever had when I've been on the council.
Well, you know, it's funny you mention that, Mr. Miller, because we've never gone through a rate increase
I know.
since I've been on the council, so this is our first time too.
How many envelopes were in there?
Approximately 40 on the sewer were mailed back with protest votes. So as you know, 40 votes does not constitute a true protest any longer because there's 3,100 parcels. No, we have to finish this, and then we have to move on to the resolution.
But for the sewer,
Oh, sure,
affected properties is 3,116.
Right.
I was assured that this is a technicality that has to be done.
Well, I know, I mean,
Mayor Hall, aren't you glad you showed up tonight?
this is,
Yeah, there could be 1,000 protests, so having only 40 is a good thing.
Actually, there's 38.
38,
yellow
okay.
envelopes.
There's a check. You trying to get 50 what you got to know?
I didn't get none.
Oh, you did? Last day at the post office.
Oh, those were mailed to the Lions. That was from whoever does it. Wasted a lot of stamps. Yeah.
I thought he was taking a knock at you, like you have 50 properties or something.
Not quite.
A bunch of mail from the city.
It was all for the same thing, you know, well, sewer and then,
There's one for sewer, one for the
Yeah.
and one.
I had too many duplicates.
Really?
Yeah. Same thing
Anybody
with
else
the
want to
business.
open?
Anything against the rules?
Just be careful, we don't want
are
to
you
take...
the only one that can open these things, or? There you go. I trust the mayor.
Oh, he got you the job.
Yeah, yeah. Finally found something I can do, huh, Randy?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Look,
I'm actually looking to see if there's any uncanceled stamps that I can use again. Nothing there. Here, I'll open them and peel. How's that?
Okay, yeah. More than checking this one. There's a little bit of information in that one.
Some people write books.
There's a little bit more in that one. Oh, uh-oh.
No.
That's a dirty note. I know what they look like. Look at those.
Hope they signed it.
Oh, yeah, set us all up.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Get everybody involved. Everybody but Randy. We gotta open one of them.
Nobody trusts
Yeah, just open them and, actually, we're just stacking them right here. There you go. Empty envelopes, good.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. That had to have helped a little bit.
We get to go through this next time, too.
It's the same person on all those parcels.
Yeah, we've never done this before. This is our 13th year on the council.
Never done that before.
We've never done it. So that tells you right there.
Yeah, you'll have to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've got a system now.
Yeah, pass them
See
back.
how quick that worked out?
She didn't give us enough.
I heard over 100,000.
She's wondering why we don't have any more.
Those envelopes are Louise's.
Yeah, those are the envelopes there.
Actually, I couldn't really think of reading some protest.
Did you read it?
No, I'd like to.
Oh, yeah.
Just out of curiosity.
Most of the time, they don't understand.
No.
Well, maybe can we talk a little bit?
Yeah,
while
well, we're
doing
gonna go
that? You
into
know,
a
the reason we're doing this is because we're, going to expand our sewer services, and
Wasn't sealed.
we got to pay for it some way or another, and it's a ratepayer supported system.
Once we
And
get through
like
this-
Mr. Mayor said, we've been on the council 13 years, we've never voted for a rate increase since then, and it's unfortunate, but, the sewer system doesn't get better with age.
Well, after we clear this, then we'll go into a motion, and then there can be discussion. So that,
Well, I'm just
absolutely.
Killing
trying
time,
to,
yeah.
You're
trying
like
to
a
kill
radio-
time here.
You're like a radio DJ.
Yeah, well,
Please, these are all,
Those are all empty, Louise. We took the cash out of them all, too.
you might explain, well, this is going on about the letter that he's received, but it was not delivered properly, so it can't be counted.
I'm not going to even worry about it. I mean,
See the one with the bird in it? They have feathers.
so every address that has a sewer hookup was sent a ballot and
At
asked,
least one.
at least one, and asked to return those to the city. And out of 3,116, we got 38 back.
I was informed that too, that this meeting was taking place, they can
Yeah.
speak.
You know, it's interesting, the county is going for a rate increase again. Did you see that?
For sewer?
For sewer, Ford City, Taft Heights. And I believe they're going to match what we're doing.
They said they were either gonna match us or wait for us to do it first and then follow.
Well, they should pay as much as
sure.
the city.
Sure.
Well, the fact of the matter is they're paying 48%, we're paying 52.
Right.
So it's pretty close.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one.
Probably takes.
Yeah, this is really, it's bad enough to watch this when we are actually doing something.
Count of three, everybody take your.
Should be.
So we assume all these are no votes, but could be a yes vote in there? I mean, were people asked to send back a ballot if they were for the rate increase?
Yeah. Or it could be somebody that sent it back because they don't own the property. Yeah,
They're all opposition.
they're all oppositions, yeah. Yeah, because if you didn't oppose it, you didn't have to do anything. You didn't protest it, I should say. I don't know. Yeah.
Did they sign it? That's no good then.
No.
I'd respect it more if they signed it.
Well, it's just like Louise was saying that there was one left on her desk today, or on her chair, but it was after the process, and it was not on the right form or anything, so there's no point in even talking about it. It's
Yeah.
like an anonymous letter at this point.
I'll have to tell Mike Wages that he counted.
This building calculator here, you go.
39.
So now the sewer, the total affected properties is 3,116. Okay.
May need it again.
3151 for the red.
Okay.
Yes.
That's where I was confused, because I thought we were talking about refuse, but,
Oh, my order, my written agenda is opposite order of the.
flip-flopped them up. I got a new camera.
Doug gets quiet too.
Boy, it's always keeping up with the Joneses, isn't it?
That's like my camera. Did you get that off my desk?
Okay. Cool, okay. Okay, thank you for bearing with us. After the total protest count, it appears there were 39 written protests received out of the 3,116 total possibilities. And so therefore, the protest actually only amounts to a little over 1%, which is great. We appreciate everybody understanding that our rates need to go up. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve an ordinance titled, "An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Section 3.3-6 of the Taft City Code establishing sewer rates for the city residents, businesses, and industrial customers for the first reading and by title only, and reading of such be waived."
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion, gentlemen? Mr. Miller?
No, we've been discussing this issue for the last 2 or 3 years now, and it's coming to a head, and we hope to get moving on our remodel, what do we call it?
Maintenance plan.
Maintenance plan for our wastewater treatment plant, which we're desperately in need of revamping it. So we appreciate the community's support on this, and that's all I have, Mr.
Very
Mayor.
good. Mr. Waldron?
Well, it's preventative maintenance. We got to take care of what we got, otherwise it's going to cost a lot more money. So it's something that needs to be done. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Cryer?
I don't like rate increases, but it was one of those things that is necessary, otherwise I would have bigger problems. Our sewer system is almost at capacity, and there's some situations there, and there's some maintenance needs to be done, or conform to different rules and regulations that the state and federal government hand them down to us. If we don't do them, we have to pay for it somewhere along the line. So luckily, we have to do this.
Thank you. And as a caveat to all of this, again, we want to reiterate that these rates are not being increased because of the recent issue we had with our sewer line. This process was started long before that, and this is strictly going to go to upgrade our wastewater treatment plant. So, okay, may we have a roll? And you guys all flunked the test because not a single one of you caught that I didn't miss the roll call tonight.
Do it.
So I think maybe it would be wise to go back and do a roll call.
Want to do
And
it now?
if we could, before we do a call on this.
Are you here, Mayor Linder?
I am here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pryor?
Here.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes, I am here.
Councilmember Noor? Will Mark absent? Councilmember Walter?
Here.
All right, thank you. And then can we move on to a roll call vote on the
Yes.
motion that's on the table?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. Okay, the third item on this is a motion to approve resolution titled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft, California confirming compliance with Section 6 of Article 13D of the California Constitution, thereby adopting sewer service rates."
Motion?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, gentlemen?
I have none.
May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you, and that passes on a 4-0 vote. Okay, we're going to move back now to item 1 on the agenda, and that is a public hearing, to conduct a public hearing regarding the increase of rates for refuse services, count written protests received, and if no majority protest exists, approve proposed refuse rates. So, I will open the public hearing and ask anybody wishing to come forward to speak in opposition or in favor of the increase in refuse rates. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and we will now go into our vote counting again. Thank you.
I think I gave you one.
Well, I got more help. Don't trust the rest of you guys with sharp objects.
Just slice it and hand it to me. Or you just hand it to me after you slice it.
I don't think I got that one at all.
These aren't necessarily from the same people. But
That's
some of
true.
them- Some of them came in at different times.
Never seen so many different stamps.
What's the holdup?
I'm just, you know that. Like that. I'm not good under pressure, Ron.
Understood. Oh, once again, it's working good.
Yeah. Paper cut.
Oh,
Well, I guess I better open.
you go for it.
I love that we can work together so well.
Randy, we got it open for you.
Interesting reading.
It would be, you know.
Oh. I might as well be using protest here.
Does it show up?
Well, what's your address, maybe?
5 years?
Yeah,
5 years?
Yeah, where's mine at?
Well, I read a few of the ones that came through, and they're opposed mainly because of the economics of it.
Sure.
Not for their own personal economics, that, you know, the rate increase is going to affect them, you know, in their wallet. And none of the ones I quickly read said anything about, we don't need to expand the plan or maintain it or anything else, is strictly on an economic basis. So I think that's what probably most of these protests are, you know, and it's too bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I saw when I was taking out the envelopes.
What's that?
That was pretty much what I saw when I was taking
Yeah,
out the envelopes.
it's more a personal thing. Madam Clerk, how many did we have for this one?
38 envelopes.
38.
And 40 sewer envelopes.
You know it's time to quit when you get more protests than votes in the election.
That's true. That's true.
Do you have any numbers on the election today?
I had it on just before I came down, but I didn't see anything.
They show anything for the road numbers?
Senate
for the
seat.
Senate seat?
Have you heard anything with Vidak and Perez, Leticia Perez?
I hope Friday,
You never know.
promote that $9.25 an hour
Yeah.
goes to a lot of the information people.
Do you think that's why they're promoting it?
The unions, not making a contract or something, it goes on automatically.
Well, it's like we said today, a Big Mac will cost you $9 now. It doesn't, I mean, it doesn't help those that are struggling.
No, I don't.
Louise, do you want this again?
I probably will leave it because I've got to put on a percentage.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
sure.
Hope she loses.
I do too. You know, it's sad to say, but I
My kids
can.
are texting me, you can send them
Anybody
something
gets
back.
in that, Barry gets in there, but I tell you what, city council put on it. I'd never thought the truck out of it.
Well, should almost be a rule that you have to resign.
Resigned, didn't
All
it?
the singles?
But you gotta understand, so they're ready to with that, the stretch out there.
Well, I guess if she wins, the governor appoints a replacement to the county board of supervisors, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. There's not a special election for a county supervisor.
That's what happened in Madera.
Is that what happened?
Frank Bigelow,
Oh, sure.
Board of Supervisors.
Probably. Better be a Democrat.
Person that ran against her became, we want you,
Yeah.
go back and.
Or the one that got the next highest vote, which would be Karen Gill. But, you know how that is, it's all politics. I don't want to slide this out tonight.
People drive me crazy.
Boy, it's in this paper.
I like this deal at 17 on
Yeah.
That should have a lot. Different instances of this.
Certainly show us.
Show pictures of who do anything, watch that.
Sure, I'm filling out the right one here.
Is it? Good for you. How many miles you put on this season?
About 6 rocks in the window, open the window this week. Did that. It is a crack.
Yeah.
A lot of places, 300,
I agree.
More rocks in there.
I agree. All right. Okay, we've completed our count, and it appears that we have a total of 46 protest votes received out of the 3,151 possible. And so our protest percentage is about 1.5%, which is not quite enough to stop the rate increases. So we will move forward, and at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft amending Section 2.2-12 of the Taft City Code establishing refuse and street sweeping rates for city customers for first reading only, by title only, and reading of the ordinance will be waived."
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Waldron, comments?
Well, there again, it's same as the sewer. It costs money to do this, and we got to keep going with the flow, even though it costs us more money and everything. We just got to make it work and get a very good system, a sanitary system. It's been working good, but things go up. We got to pay our dues. That's bottom line. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Refuse and street sweeping, two main criteria for living in a nice, clean community. And if we continue to want to be proud of Taft, we need to keep those services up. And, you know, unfortunately, it's like everything else, the rates go up, and we're just trying to keep up with it. So, all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Cryer?
No comment.
All right. I just wanted to make a quick comment regarding the street sweeping. And in the last year, the city purchased a new street sweeper, which meets all the particulate matter requirements that are currently in place. And part of this increase will to allow us to build a bit of a reserve so that when that device wears out, which they, contrary to popular belief, they do wear out, the city will be able to purchase a new one and keep those services going. So I think that's,
I'd like
yes.
one more thing on the street sweeper. Do we have a time where the street sweeper goes through? Like, say if it
Schedule.
comes in my area at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to move my car. I don't know this is done or whatever, but is there any way we can get a time schedule where everybody would know?
It's on the website.
It is on the website. And we need to make people aware of the big trees that the street sweeper can't go through. And maybe they're not aware of this, and so they can clean it good. That's the only comments I had. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Waldron?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. And item 3 on this particular agenda item is a motion to approve a resolution titled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft, California, confirming compliance with Section 6, boy, that's tough for me to say tonight, of Article 13D of the California Constitution, thereby adopting refuse service rates." I need a motion, gentlemen.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Cryer?
Have no comment.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Waldron?
No comment.
And I have none. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
We might note that all those motions passed by 4-0 vote.
I was just
one
getting ready to
abstention.
mention that, so. Okay, item 3 on our agenda is a public hearing, Community Development Block Grant Program, Final Closeout Grantee Performance Report 08 EDEF-5878 and 09 EDEF-6534. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The grantee performance report is used to assess the degree to which the grantee has completed the various activities, whether it being completed in a timely manner within budget in accordance with overall CDBG program goals and objectives as identified in the grant agreements. Public hearing has been duly noticed to allow the public an opportunity to also review the annual report and provide input as to these and future grant activities. Council is requested to review the attached final closeout performance report and provide any comments regarding staff performance. The final closeout grantee performance reports will be filed and copies sent to the Department of Housing and Community Development by May 8th, 2013. Input from the public as well as the council regarding the grantee performance listed, the public notice would be appreciated. Copies of the grantee performance report are available in the city clerk's office for review.
Thank you. At this time, we will conduct a public hearing to review the final closeout grantee performance report and receive input from the public concerning grantee performance during this period. Public hearing is open. I invite anybody who wishes to speak in favor or opposition to this report. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion to receive the report and submit the report to the Community Development Block Grant folks.
Make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Discussion, Mr. Miller?
No comment.
Mr. Cryer?
No comment.
Mr. Waldron?
No comment.
And I have none. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. Item number 4, citizens' request for public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive content and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. And, maybe I better rephrase that because Mayor Hall from Bakersfield is here. And I do enjoy hearing you speak, Mr. Hall. And if you get to the 5 minutes, I'm gonna pad it a little bit for you, okay? Welcome tonight.
I wanted badly to kind of offer a precedence when you were counting your ballots on your issues to say, wouldn't it be neat if the mayor of Bakersfield was over here helping you count melons? That'd made some news, wouldn't it?
That had made some news.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Linder and City Council. It's always fun for me to come to the city of Taft and be present with one of your meetings because you're always so amenable to me and make me feel welcome. And I'm here tonight to bring attention to a special occasion that we celebrate each year in Kern County, and it has to do with Emergency Medical Services Week. And it's been 18 years that my company has had the privilege of being able to provide first-in paramedic service to your community, and I'm here to say thank you for that privilege. I want to explain to you, in those 18 years, we have responded to 36,000 emergency calls for ambulance service in the Taft response area. Just since I got here at 5:10 this afternoon, we've had 3 ambulance calls and a helicopter over here this afternoon, so we're pretty busy, but it's just so good that we can have the relationship that we do with the city of Taft, the public safety agencies. My staff is always very complimentary of the relationships that we have with the public safety agencies here, And we commit a lot of energy to make sure that the service that you are provided by Hall Ambulance is more than acceptable, because my standard is perfection every day. And we try to get there by making sure that our employees are amenable to the services that the community requires. And, you know, we have such an outstanding relationship, and I want to mention this with the Kern County Fire Department, because we all mutually respond to medical aid calls. And so, you know, we have a chance to interact on those calls with the Kern County Fire Department every day. And Mike Lopez, who is one of my paramedic field supervisors, has joined me today, and one of their responsibilities is to make regular visits to the Taft City Fire Department to make sure that, the Taft County Fire Department, to make certain that our relationships are solid and we are performing to everyone's expectations. And we do that throughout our 89% of Kern County that we serve with all of the Kern County and Bakersfield City fire stations. So today, in commemorating EMS Week, and especially in the city of Taft, I'm here to present you with a plaque that will identify that we have served Taft since March of 1995. And I just can't thank you enough for allowing me this privilege to serve your community. And we will continue to make sure that we meet the needs. Presently, we provide 2 24-hour paramedic units, and in the event that one of those units goes on a call, we back it up from Bakersfield. And likewise, just like now, we got 2 Taft ambulances on a call and 2 ambulances that come from Bakersfield to make sure that we fulfill the backup need. And that's always the way I've done it, and I will continue to do that. And we have the good old whirlybird that we use quite a bit over this way, but you know, it cuts down. It cuts down on the amount of time that it takes to get these critical care patients to Bakersfield, and I'm happy to provide that service. The folks at the airport do a marvelous job of creating a landing zone for us, and we have the fire department come out and make sure that we're secure in that regard. So I'd like to present this plaque to you this evening, and I just can't emphasize enough how much I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to serve your community.
Harvey, we got a tradition. You come up here in front of our seal, if you would, please.
Okay. You guys are just so smooth here in Taft, man. I don't have this kind of luxury in downtown Bakersfield.
All right.
I think our seal is bigger than yours.
I do too. Rosie here, isn't it? Thank you, Harvey.
Those
very
mayors
much.
sure can't smile.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you, Harvey.
Thank you, Ron. Good to see you. Randy, always good to see you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank
Like
you.
to make a little comment.
Absolutely.
I have the fortunate, unfortunate times to have been in Hall's ambulance more than once, and I'll tell you what, they're first class. And I wasn't at the races, but I heard a little story. And I'd like to pass it on, and maybe Mr. Hall can let me know if that's true or not, but I really liked it. I always like bragging on him. I understand that there was a person in the stands having a heart attack, and that it was so busy, so much confusion, they couldn't get down to get Hall's ambulance, or something to that effect. Well, there was one of the ladies up there whose husband was down working in the pits, and she called him down there and told him the situation, got a hold of the Hall's people down in there. They were right up there, and she says that she was pretty sure that he flatlined twice, but they brought him back. Hats off to you.
I'm very familiar with that call. And let me assure you that because of the on-site fire crew that's contracted with the raceway and working with my standby paramedic unit, we were able to regain viable rhythms on that patient, and he has survived the cardiac arrest. And in addition, in that incident, we brought a helicopter in. There were those in the stands that thought the helicopter was bringing me to the races. But that wasn't it. But we were able to transport the patient to San Joaquin Community Hospital, and I'm told today that he's just like you and I are today. So everything fell into place, contrary to what you believe or read. The ambulances were all in place within a period of less than 15 minutes for that patient. And as we were working that patient, another patient went down at the front gate, and we were able to service that call with a backup ambulance, because that's our practice. If we use the ambulance at the raceway on an incident, they call for an automatic backup. So when that second ambulance was there, they were already there to take care of the patient at the front gate. So everything fell into place as far as I'm concerned. And anytime you have a life save like that in a large spectator situation, it's a good thing, and the system worked well, and that's what EMS Week is all about.
Well, we're very dependent upon your services out here, and we thank you and thank all your staff and all the efforts that they do to help keep our community safe and healthy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I've known Harvey, well, we've all known Harvey for a long time, and I appreciate and I respect what you do for the community as a whole, not just for you being mayor of Bakersfield, but all you're doing in all the communities in the surrounding areas as far as donating your time, your resources, a lot of times at no cost to the communities, and promoting Kern County, what you do, and I appreciate what you do for the citizens here in Kern and for Taft. And it's noticeable. Everybody always says good things about you, and I'm one of them. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Harvey, thank you so much. We appreciate the service you provide us. You truly are the lifeline between us and the hospitals in Bakersfield. And I know you've saved lives out here, and we appreciate that. And that's the Harvey Hall Ambulance. And I want to just invite Mayor Hall to come out and visit us anytime he'd like.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. All right, next person wishing to speak is Shannon Jones with the Chamber.
I actually have two things. Well, he's gone now. We wanted to thank Mayor Hall and Hall Ambulance Service. They actually are one of our sponsors for the fireworks show. So thank you to them, as well as Dave Knorr and Huddleston Crane has donated money, as well as Westside Waste Management as our title sponsor. We are looking for additional sponsorships still, so we can bring fireworks back to Taft on July the 3rd. The other thing...
Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
Can you introduce yourself to
Oh,
our
yes, I'm
TV
sorry.
office and where you're from?
Okay, I'm Shannon Jones. I am the event coordinator for the Taft Chamber of Commerce. The other thing that I have for you guys, this is a letter that I would like to read on behalf of the Downtown Business Committee, which is comprised of businesses on Center Street and Main Street that the Chamber works closely with, and we just have a letter that I would like to pass out.
Okay. City Clerk. Gotta get rid of that wall.
Shannon, how close are we now on the fireworks fund?
I believe we are about, as far as funding the fireworks, we are $6,000 short. We have a couple of upcoming fundraisers that we're going to be doing to kind of help get additional sponsors. We don't necessarily are not just looking for just big name sponsors. Any dollar amount helps. $1, $5, $20 is going to get us to our goal to being able to provide the show to our community at no cost.
We have about one month and a half to go. 6
We have about 6 more weeks, so we'll be doing a big push, and we'll hopefully have it plastered in everybody's face over the next 6 weeks.
Good for you.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and read this. Does everybody have a copy?
Yes.
Okay. On behalf of the Downtown Business Committee, I would like to thank the City of Taft and its staff for meeting with the committee and listening to our concerns about the downtown district. We appreciate the cleanup of the flower beds and Fifth Street Plaza prior to the First Friday Car Cruise and Cinco de Mayo celebration. Thank you to Craig Jones, Deborah Elliott, and Mike Wages for hearing our concerns about skateboarders and bike riders and their prompt response to ordering and installing no skateboarding signs on Center Street. We take pride in our businesses on Center Street and look forward to working more closely with the city staff and Planning Commission on creating a business improvement district for downtown Taft. So this was just something that whenever we had our last meeting with the Downtown Business Committee, they wanted to personally thank you, and so I went ahead and wrote this letter on their behalf. The other thing, finally, real quick, is we've got a couple events coming up. Our first Friday car cruise is going to be on Friday, June the 7th. And we've also got a couple bands that are going to be performing on Fifth Street Plaza. The Aviators and Truxton Mile will be performing there that night. And then the next day is our 5th annual Rails to Trails car, truck, and motorcycle show. So we are still taking applications for vendors as well as entries for the car show. And if they're in by next Friday, May 31st, you get a free t-shirt. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Shannon, we appreciate it. Appreciate everything the Chamber and the Visitors Bureau is doing for the city of Taft. All right, the next item on the agenda is the Treasurer's Report. Evening, Ben.
Good evening. This report is as of March the 31st. It's 1 month since my last report. We currently have $8,500,000 in the total operating cash and investments, which is the same as last report. Our general fund is down by $263,000 at $712,000. Our special revenue fund is $495,000, which is $107,000 more than the previous. Sewer fund is $1,850,000, which is about $50,000 less than previously. The refuse fund, $1,012,000, which is $88,000 less. The federal wastewater treatment plant fund is the same at $2,950,000. Community Development Agency is $42,000 less at $178,000. Wastewater treatment plant fund is the same at $3,350,000. Our community correctional facility deficit has gone up by $31,000, which is a slower deficit than it has been. It's now at $828,000. Our transit fund, the state has paid some money, so it's the deficit is down by $250,000 at $1,120,000. That's the only bright spot. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, Ben.
Yeah, bright spot when they only owe us $1 million instead of $1.2 million.
Next item on the agenda is council statements, non-action. Mr. Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank, we had a Relay for Life over the weekend, and citizens of Taft really came through, and all the corporate sponsors that helped out for the American Cancer Society, fighting against cancer, and unbelievable how everybody participated. And I understand, talking with the mayor, did over $100,000. It was over $100,000 in one day, and I was not there to participate, but I donated to that farm for my company, and a small amount, but unfortunately my work takes me away from some of those functions. But everybody here, I know, had a great time. They had a lot of entertainment, and it was well worth going there. But unfortunately, I could not participate. But I just want to thank everybody that did and contributed on that. Another deal is, it seems like our governor is at it again. You know, takes away our prisons from us, takes away our EDA from us, and now they're trying to take away our enterprise zone from us. What more can you do? Why they take our taxes away from us? I don't know. Funding, but it's one of the few things that businesses can rely on. get something back from the government and say, to develop the communities, to start a business, get subsidized, get tax breaks, hiring from people, and it seems like anything that's good, especially, to the free enterprise system, like the old saying is, the Lord giveth and the giveth taketh away. It's like they make it hard for everybody to do business in California. No wonder Rick Perry goes on the bed smiling. All the people leaving here, going to Texas, and all our businesses and taxpayers leaving to go there, it's getting more and more difficult. And all I can say is, right now, we need a lot of help from businesses and from the chambers and stuff to write letters to Brown, hopefully that he will not take that away from us. And keep that open, because that's one of our bright spots we have here in Taft, in order to bring people here, to new businesses here, and new opportunities here for our children and our future here, for our families. So I'd like to urge everybody to write letters to Brown, not to take the enterprise designation from the city of Taft. And that's all I have to say, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too appreciate the community's efforts on the Relay for Life. It's really important, and they did, I understand, go over $100,000 again this time, and that's a real testament to the community and the involvement in putting that whole event on. So kudos to all involved, and hopefully one day that we can end the scourge of cancer. Hopefully our dirt bike riders and off-roaders are getting the message about the Rails to Trails. I haven't heard anything lately, so hopefully they're staying off of it. We're doing everything we can to make that a nice trail out to Sandy Creek out there. Just to let folks know, we are having some conversations in regards to housing out on the Hilliard property. Can't tell you anything at this point, but it's coming together, and hopefully we will hear something soon. I'm just glad we live here in Taft and not in Oklahoma. My gosh, our country just really seems to take a beating. Either it's a hurricane, tornadoes, flooding, record snows, rain, dust storms. I don't know, maybe we just hear it all here, but I don't hear about other countries having the kind of weather that we have here in the United States. My wife looked up tornadoes in other countries, but I never hear of any. She said in South Africa and in Argentina and Australia, they have tornadoes, but I don't think they have them like we have them. My goodness. And so our heart goes out to the folks. The devastation of a Class 5 hurricane is just unbelievable what that did to that community back there. So our hearts go out, and if you have a couple of extra bucks and can send some help that way by way of Red Cross and whatever, please do. Those people need your help. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Waldron?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just have a small reminder that I'd like to put out there is the raising of the American flag. We got our night light, and we wanted to get the public down there, and especially I'd like to get any veteran that's not doing anything, please show up and be a part of it. And all the council members, the mayor, we hope that you show up. Supervisor Couch will be there. I hope everybody shows up. So I just want to remind you, 10 o'clock at the Veterans Building at 218 Taylor. Thank you.
Saturday.
Saturday.
This Saturday, I'm sorry.
And
Yes,
it's at 10 o'clock?
yes.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Ron, I'm sorry, it looks like I'm going to be out of town. I apologize. I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing, but have an opportunity to get out of Dodge for a few days, and I'm going to take it. So I apologize for that, but
I
I'm sure
understand.
Mr. Miller will be there.
Put me on the spot.
He is a veteran.
Maybe the pro tem could be there.
I'll be there.
All right, thank you very much. I'll just reiterate, Relay for Life was a great event. They did a wonderful job. Kudos to those that put it on. I think what's really incredible, if you don't ever get the chance to go down there, you should make it an opportunity, because when you look at the folks down there that are, they're called survivors, but somebody came up with a different term Saturday, and it was continuers or something. It was really kind of a neat way to look at it, but all those folks that have been helped over the years through donations from Relay for Life that do research and things like that, it's really impressive to see those folks, and it's a great thing. I also want to remind folks that Monday, the Taft Kiwanis Club will be placing the American flags throughout the city to those businesses that have signed up to be part of that program. I think we're going to be we're at about 48 flags total that are going up on Monday, and we look for more sponsors. Any business that would like to have a flag placed in front of their business 4 times throughout the year, the Kiwanis Club will make that arrangement by providing a flag and a staff and an installation, and it only costs you $50 a year. So contact your local Kiwanis Club. And that's my shameless advertising for the day. So thank you very much. Planning Commissioner report. Do we have a Planning Commissioner here tonight? I don't see one, so we'll move on to department reports. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Councilman. I came to talk to you a little bit tonight about a workshop that Lieutenant Aranda and I were fortunate enough to attend yesterday and today. In fact, I just got back about an hour and a half ago, and it was actually a very good workshop. It was active shooter for police executives, put on by the FBI from the Eastern District out of Sacramento, attended by more than 120 police executives, lieutenants, and with the rank of lieutenant or higher. We learned quite a bit there, and I brought some more than I can share with you here tonight, but I brought some things back I thought I would share with you, some of the highlights, and that is we got indicators on potential shooters, things to watch for that we can share with the school district or any of our districts that we have under our here in the city, and to help them look at what a potential a shooter or a person who would do bad things at the school would do. We learned about trends with IEDs, improvised explosive device, and how those are becoming more prevalent. And specifically, we talked about some of the bombs and booby traps at Aurora, and then again at the Boston mass killing, including the fact that they're now switching over to the pressure cooker way of doing business. We also examined quite a few case studies going back to 1900 for mass shootings or killings in schools, and some of the things that we learned was that 26% of the, if you will, an active shooter or the mass murderer killed a family member or loved one prior to the killings. We also found out that most of the school or mass killing incidences occur in a small to medium city. Virtually no large cities are involved going back to 1900. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought, well, wait a minute, we had Columbine. That was right there in Littleton, Colorado, right there in Denver. But when you look at it on a map, it actually really is a suburb, and there's only about 40,000 people that live in that community, and it's in Columbine Valley. And it is technically a small city. And so when you looked at some of those trends, they were actually quite interesting. And we also talked about the Sandy Hook case, and I found an interesting anecdotal story for you guys that I thought you might find interesting. That is that the colonel, who is the highest ranking officer of the Connecticut State Police, who is in charge of the overall investigation along with the Newtown Police Department, they felt so compelled towards their citizenry. There's 26 people who died there. That means there's 26 families that are grieving. So the colonel assigned one state trooper per family, and their only job was to stay with them and they're still there today. They are there as the liaison to the state police. They're there to protect the families, keep reporters away, or nuisance citizens, or anybody that wants to bother them. And if they want the news media to come talk to them, certainly they're there to be with them. But they wanted to make sure that the families received their information first, and that it was immediate, and there was no rumors or anything that would cause them issues. They wanted them to be updated. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't think every police department or sheriff's department in the world can do that, depending on staffing levels, but I found it interesting to note, and I thought I would share it with you folks, that was pretty significant for them. Also, I was invited to speak about our Taft Union High School shooting as an after-action report. And after I was done concluding, explaining to them everything that we learned from our event, I received quite a bit of questions, and I've been asked to return to speak at any future engagements that the FBI puts on for the Eastern District.
Mine's the Eastern District in California.
They have 4 districts in California. The Eastern District covers Sacramento and all the Valley area counties coming down to the Grapevine, and then the Northern District covers San Francisco and all of the coastal communities. And so they cover almost 32 counties going down to the Grapevine. And then this is only the second class they put on, and they're refining it and making it a little bit better. And they thought that we had a lot of value based on our shooting to add to that, and that's why they've invited us to come back to it. But we found it to be a very interesting and worthwhile class workshop. We get to talk with a lot of professionals. Some of them were victim witness. The coordinators that were actually here from the FBI out of the Fresno office were there speaking, talked about our shooting. And probably one of the nicest things they had to say was they felt that our community was very put together. It was very supportive. There was cohesiveness in law enforcement and public safety, the fire department, and the ambulance personnel, and they felt that it was if you can say this, a good event to show that Taft had come together. And so they felt that it was a very significant event, and they'd like us to come back and share that with them. And that's what I wanted to share with you tonight.
Chief, quick question. Kern High School went through a bit of a round of what I call IEDs, because they are improvised explosive devices that deal with just the basic water bottle. And
we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah. I'm always in fear of copycats, people doing things because they think it's funny or something. But I'm going to guess that there's not going to be any kind of leniency towards a kid who thinks that doing something with one of these is funny with the era that we're in now, as far as taking action against them.
No, they're not, and you are correct. And also, I could share with you this little bit of anecdotal information. That is, when there is a school shooting or a incident, the FBI has what they call an SIOC. It's a situational incident operations center that is pretty much open 24/7, 365. I mean, and when bad things happen around the nation, around the world that involve our citizens, this particular SOIC receives that information, and some of the first people to start asking what's going on would be the White House. So the way things worked in the FBI was Rob Guyton, who is our senior special agent assigned to the Bakersfield office, when he became aware of it and found out that his team was already here within 10 minutes, he has to make a report to his field office in Sacramento, who calls the SOIC, and then as soon as they have the information, then of course the White House is involved, because they said you want to have this information right away because the White House will be calling and you'll have to be able to have this information. But a lot of things occur at the FBI that I was not aware of. They have their own federal office of victim and witness to help people out, help them transition to the local agencies and provide whatever they need. They would have supported us with crime scene collection. They had propped and made ready a full SWAT team for us by helicopter on that morning, and I didn't know that. And once they were assured by us or the Sheriff's Department that they had it well in hand, then they stood down. But they have a midsection in Texas, Oklahoma, then they have an East Coast and a West Coast, various teams with the FBI who are ready to go at a moment's notice for things just like this. And so they appraised us of a lot of these things that we had no knowledge of, but yet if something bad were happening, hopefully we don't ever have another active shooter, but should we ever have another big incident, then we can rely on them to come help us, and they're glad to do it. So learned quite a bit from the workshop.
Very good, thank you. Gentlemen, any questions of the chief?
No, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whiting. Any other department reports? Battalion Chief Brent Moon.
Brent Moon, County Fire, yep. We are proud to be here and cooperating with everybody. It is a good community and there is a cohesiveness that is kind of special. You look out to a lot of parts of the world and it's not commonplace as we have here. So that's just a testimony to the people that are around here. Had a couple of issues, a couple of things I wanted to bring up. Last time you asked me about the best way to report incidents related to possible arson or a case regarding fire, and you can use the secret witness, but fire tip is probably a better source. And so it's 1-877-FIRE-TIP, and if you don't have if you have a smartphone and can't spell fire tip, it's 1-877-347-3847. That spells fire tip. Also, just wanted to remind people, it's a little bit late, but we still need to do it, is service our coolers and air conditioners. We're starting to get those calls where air conditioners and coolers are being fired up. And if they're not serviced properly, not only do they draw a lot of juice and cause problems, they can fill your house full of smoke real quickly. So make sure your smoke detectors work and your coolers and air conditioners are working well. It will keep you cool and maybe even save your life, because smoke does cause problems. People don't realize that. Once you breathe smoke, you can't reason very well and your motor skills don't work very well, and it's hard to get out of a house. I've had the opportunity to talk to several people that said, you know, I've been in this house for years, and once I breathed the smoke, I couldn't figure out where I was or how to get out of my own house. You don't realize that, but that's the way it works. That's why you want to get out quickly before the house is full of smoke.
Chief Moon, I fired one up in a rental that I happened to have, and I got dust. It's more dust than I got smoke, so.
Yeah.
You gotta be aware of that, too.
Well, those ones that start with dust, if you run them about 2 or 3 weeks later,
Yeah.
the motors burn up and it's fire.
Yeah.
That's the problem we have, is that water pump's almost working, but 2 weeks later it's not working, and then you have a fire. So make sure they're serviced and running well. Also, we've had a couple calls, incidents, APCV burning, you know, everybody we think is aware, but probably not everybody is aware that you can check on the website, you can call and see if it's a burn day or no burn day. And people aren't using fireplaces anymore, but it's kind of fun to sit out and light a little fire and things like that, or campfires in your backyard. Creates a big stir because people think your house is on fire. So you need to kind of heed those warnings. And if it's a no burn day, don't be burning anything.
That's right.
So I just wanted to share that. And also, if there's any questions or anything like that, just open to that.
Gentlemen?
Thank you.
So you can't barbecue a hamburger on a no burn day then?
Yeah, you can eat, but not everybody has that concept yet.
Yeah. It's best not to set 16 pallets on fire to cook your tricycle.
Gotta be a little reasonable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brent. Okay, moving on to city manager statements. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Yesterday, had a good meeting with Supervisor Couch and his staff. They were over here. We toured Taft together. We just kind of pointed out and looked at things that need a little sprucing up for the county areas and the city areas. Things that we could do to improve the quality of life for the west side. So it was refreshing. I believe we've had more meetings in his short time in office than we had in 8 years. It's a pleasant change of venue to have the supervisor walk into the city hall and ask me to go for a tour with him. You know, it was really nice. As Mayor Pro Tem Cryer pointed out, in the May revised budget, the governor is calling to eliminate enterprise zones. And we have made quite a effort, and it's cost the city a lot of money to get involved with this program for them to pull the rug out from underneath us. And we did make a trip down to Sacramento. We talked to our legislators about it. I think a lot of people here in the community have gotten emails from us with letters, or asking for them to write letters. Some of the politicians are trying to portray the enterprise zones as corporate gravy trains. And they even went as far as to hand out jars of gravy in Sacramento. When we were in Sacramento, we pointed out that the city of Taft doesn't have big corporations here. We have locally owned businesses that are benefiting from the program, and it's given them a little bit of relief so they can put some money back in their businesses. They can hire some more people, maybe pave their parking lot, put some paint on their building, and it's not big corporations that are escaping from state taxes. While we were down there, I took time to be involved in a commercial, and I'm waiting to see how that turned out, but there's a coalition for people trying to save the enterprise zones, and they asked for people to talk about their enterprise zone, and they were interested in Taft because we are small, we have small businesses, and people are using the enterprise zones to benefit them, and it's not a big corporation escaping from state taxes. So we're hopeful that it doesn't happen, but you know, the track record for that kind of stuff doesn't look good. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. City Attorney statements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing this evening.
All right, thank you, sir. Item 11 is future agenda request. Gentlemen, any?
I have one comment. It's very positive for the city of Taft. We were one of two places in California that somebody hit the Powerball for $2.3 million. So we hear rumors of who may have been the person here, but hopefully they'll step forward and maybe donate some money to the city of Taft, and because they bought it here. I don't know if that's part of the deal or not, but anyway, we're put a positive light on the city of Taft, and we wish whoever won that it brings them good health and good prosperity. So it's deserving.
If there's anything left after the government.
That's all. I just wanted to add that in, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
I have no comment, thank you.
Mr. Crack? I'm going to request an agenda item for the next meeting, and that would be that the city of Taft, I've pondered this, but I think it's probably the right thing to do, that we fund $2,000 towards the fireworks display. I think we're on tough budget, and I know that, but I also know how important the fireworks display is to the community, and if we can find $2,000. I know the council is not taking any stipends, haven't been for I don't know how long now, but we've given back a little bit. Even if we can divert money from that budget to the fireworks, I'd appreciate a concurrence on that.
I concur.
Very good. So I think we can find public good in that. All right, great. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar, items 12 through 19. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. And the consent calendar tonight consists of item number 12, minutes of the May 7th regular meeting. Item 13, payment of bills. 14, standard agreement 08-EDEF-5878, disencumbering unused CDBG grant funds. Item 15, standard agreement 08-EDEF-5878. There must be some difference between those two, but I'll defer to staff. Item 16, unemployment compensation, EDD payouts. Item 17, Taft Police Department wishes to purchase a Citizens RIMS software crime mapping module for the new website. Item 18, MOU with the Taft City School District for a full-time paid school resource police officer. And item number 19, opposition to AB 649, AB 1301, and AB 1323, prohibiting hydraulic fracturing. Opposition to SB 241, severance tax on oil production. And let me be clear on that. Those oppositions, this city council, if passed, is opposing any restrictions on hydraulic fracturing and a severance tax on oil production. Gentlemen, I'd entertain a motion, or, I'm sorry, does anybody wish anything pulled?
I'd like to pull 17 and 18.
17 and 18, okay. I was going to request 17 be pulled also, so. Okay? Then I would entertain a motion to approve items 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 19 of the consent calendar.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Waldron?
Yes.
Councilmember Carr?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. And we'll move on to item 17. Taft Police Department wishes to purchase a Citizens RIMS or RIMS software crime mapping module for the new website. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The current report management system for the police department is a Sunridge Systems, and is called RIMS. The purchase will be a sole source from an existing source vendor. The software module we wish to purchase is an add-on to existing software and server, which will enable us to place a mapping software on all Part 1 crimes in the city to the city website for public view. It is a read-only server and does not allow access to the main RIM server for security reasons. Anyone could then see arrests with pictures, task most wanted, missing persons, grand theft autos, and view their neighborhoods to see what crimes are occurring. That gives the public some transparency to what our department does on a daily basis and lets them see their neighborhoods. The cost for the module is $4,115. It includes installation and the first year software support. Money for this upgraded software module comes from AB 109 monies the police department just received.
Thank you. I was going to ask the chief to come up. He provided us with a sample of this system, and it is pretty impressive because it not only map points where crimes have been committed, but my understanding is that eventually you'll be able to click on that and see who the perpetrator was and things like that. Is that my understanding?
You'll be able to see everybody who's been arrested in the case for which they were arrested, and a picture. You'll be able to see the Part 1 crime as it's listed as the case report has been completed. So you'll be able to look at everything from a traffic stop to a pedestrian check to a burglary of the home or a car burglary, a petty theft. You'll be able to look at assaults, all types of larcenies, a patrol check even. You'll be able to look at all those things that we do on a daily basis. You would see it on the map, you would see an item number with it, you just simply click on it and it'll give you a full little synopsis of what's going on in your neighborhood. And you can search it by the last day, the last 3 days, last 7 days, or even just put in a date range and it'll let you see all the crimes that occurred in that range. And in addition to that, you can also look at anybody we put on there for most wanted. You can look at missing persons if we have anything current. And grand theft autos, you can see where the cars are being stolen from. It'll give you the make, the model, and the license number, so if you should happen to see it, you can report it to us.
What I found was interesting that is if you went to your generalized block or neighborhood, you could see really what's going on in your own neighborhood and maybe be more aware. But I had a question, would code enforcement issues be listed on that?
We could allow for code enforcement issues to be on there, and it would just be a question of having RIMS add that as a particular block for people to look at. So if, for example, someone wanted to report to us a house that's blighted, we could simply put that on there and you would see it. If you tapped on it, you could see that this house has a code enforcement issue.
Very good. Okay. Gentlemen? Mr. Cryer, I'm sorry, Mr. Cryer, I jumped in front of you, I apologize.
That's fine. You're the mayor.
Keep reminding me.
I just want to recognize the chief and the police department for being proactive on this, because this is an excellent tool for neighborhood watch. People watch their neighborhood and their neighbor's neighborhood and see where the crime is being perpetrated and to see who is committing the crime, with the pictures of that person being arrested, so they, with that new, without our governor letting go all our prisoners or felons and stuff out in the public, our crime's a lot higher. We know who the repeat of criminals are, and I think it's an excellent tool. And I just want to thank you and the police department for bringing this up, and at no cost to the city. It's all money from the grants that you received. And
so that we're clear about this, we received $75,000 from AB 109 monies. These are monies that were given to cities for this type of thing. And the allotment has allowed for us to pay things like overtime to our officers, to be out working patrol, to try to do some prevention. And one of the things that and there's no real stipulations on the money except that the nexus is AB 109. And it was felt that by putting out the mapping system for the people to see what's going on in their neighborhoods and see what crime is going on, that the nexus has been met simply because they'll know what's going on. It's transparent. They see the crimes in their area. They can be a little more watchful, a little more proactive. And this lets the people know what we're doing, and they can see it just by the touch of a screen.
Well, hopefully there won't be that many dots on that map, so
That would be the goal.
that would be the goal.
is it possible that the sheriff department could put like in Ford City, South Taft, and different areas that's not incorporated in the city, they can have some outlying areas here we can add to it?
One of the things that you'll see on there is a thing called OUTA, which is called Assist Another Agency, or AOD. And you'll see all of our AODs when we go into the county, or when the sheriff comes into the city and we assist them. And you'll see those by simply, it'll be assigned a particular number. So let's say it's number 5. So if you're looking around the map, you can zoom in and zoom out of it and go almost county-wide. So if we get a call for service where we back the county and we're way out east of Maricopa, you'll actually be able to click out there and see that it was an assisted department. And you'll see all the ones in Ford City, South Taft, and the Heights. So you'll be able to see those kind of activities. You won't be able to see the sheriff's activities, but you'll be able to see our activities with the sheriff. Now, in the future, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is looking at replacing their report writing management system. And of the 2 companies that qualified, one of them happens to be Sunridge. And if they were to award their bid to Sunridge, it is likely that they would come in line with the remaining agencies in Kern County that are our Sunridge. In fact, the only 2 left would be Delano and Bakersfield. Everyone else is on Sunridge RIMS. That means we would have a countywide RIMS user group. We could all share information, including Grand Theft Autos, pictures, whatnot. And if they were to subscribe to the Citizen RIMS module also, all that information could be incorporated into ours too. So there's a potential there for that.
Thank you.
Chief, RIMS means?
Report Management System. I don't know where the I comes from, but I want to say it's probably...
Incident?
It could be, or it could be integrated. The RIM system has various modules. We have 2 modules to it. We have the report management module, and then we have the computer-aided dispatch. When you call the police department, RIMS is the computer-aided dispatch that we have now. It's also, the other module we have is iRIMS. This is what is supported by our iPads, so we can do the calls on the iPad. And this module here that is reported tonight will allow us to integrate our server so that people can log in and see what it is we're doing without being able to access it and delete it or change it or hack it, things like that.
While we're on this subject about we're going to be in the county helping the sheriff, can you go over that just a little bit for the people that come to me and say, what is our sheriff, our police department doing outside the city limits? I need a little explanation that maybe they'll see this.
Sure. We have a very good working relationship with our friends at the Kern County Sheriff's Office. A very large contingent of that you saw on January 10th at the high school. It's because of that great working relationship that we're able to help them when they need it, and they come in and help us when we need it. It has been since about 1988 that we've had a freestanding AOD, or what we call Assist Another Department policy, where If the county needs a backup in the county on a call for service, we're going to go help them, but if we need backup, they're going to come and help us. It's kind of a, I think our city attorney can help me with the term, quid pro
Mutual
quo.
aid. Yeah, there you go.
There it is. They scratch our back and we scratch theirs. If you would look back at the day when Deputy Archuleta was killed, and the deputies at the substation were grieving, we actually took over the calls for the service in the west side of the county for almost 72 hours to assist them while they grieved. And so that level of cooperation is unprecedented. You don't see that in a lot of agencies, but we have it here. And on January 10th, that paid back to us very big. So we enjoy working with them. You know, my only real comment to that is that the bad guys aren't respecting the lines on the map. And I don't know why we should. I think we should go out there and help them catch them, and they're going to come in and help us catch them, and we like that idea.
I agree.
That's what we do.
That badge you wear doesn't just stay in the borders of the city of Taft.
Our authority extends to all the corners of the state of California.
There you go.
That's true.
So, and we're glad to have them come help us, and they do. In fact, just tonight as I was on my way to council session, there was a medical aid call on North Lincoln while we were tied up at an assault at the skate park, and the deputies handled the call for service for us. So it's that kind of cooperation that we get and we give that really makes it work better here for us. We enjoy that.
Thank you.
Very good. I find it interesting that the same Assembly Bill 109, which was prison realignment, correct?
It is.
Released all these prisoners, and now they're giving us grants so that we can monitor the prisons that should be locked up. But, you know, it's just kind of I don't get it sometimes, but I believe in this. This is good. If there's no cost to the city, you're correct, but the truth of the matter is this is the type of thing that's coming along due to AB 109 prison realignment, because it's just become a revolving door. And at least if we know what's going on in our neighborhoods, maybe we can protect ourselves a little better.
I think the trend you're seeing now is we're going to be looking to change gears, I believe. And the gear change we're going to have is going to be more towards prevention, because catching them is not helping now. So it's going to we're going to have to really change gears and move more towards prevention now and keep the crimes from happening, I think, is where we're going to have to go.
But the other thing, Chief, is transparency. You know, we're going to be able to see who the bad guys are. I mean, they're not just shadowy under cover here. They're going to be, hey, there's my picture. I don't know if they're going to be proud of it or not, but at least we can see who these guys are, and we can see what the police department is actually doing and what kind of crimes are happening. That makes people more aware of what's going on in the community. So
I fully expect after about the first few months, we'll be getting phone calls saying, isn't that the same guy you just arrested last week? Because that'll be happening. So.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate your explanation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the purchase of a Citizens RIMS software module from Sunridge Systems for $4,115.
Motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion, gentlemen? May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carr?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you, and that passes on a 4-0 vote. And the next item is item 18, an MOU with the Taft City School District for a full-time paid school resource officer. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. For the school years 12 to 13, the city of Taft used the COPS grant to supply a school resource officer to the Taft City School District. The officer has increased the district's daily attendance just over 2%, which translates to $100,000 in savings, which is enough to pay for the full-time officer. In addition to this, school suspensions went down 363 days to about 60, which means overall behavioral incidents down quite a bit. The officer assigned has proven effective in working with school district staff, school kids themselves, and their parents. The officer has become a great asset to the school district. On May 8th, 2013, the Taft City School District Board approved an MOU between the Taft City School District and the Taft Police Department for a full-time SRO beginning July 1st, 2013. The MOU has been reviewed and approved by city staff and our city attorney.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cryer, you asked the...
I sure did, because I think it's important for the public to know. this information here. It's sad in our time to have a police officer on campus and the truancy and the crime and all that goes along with it. But by having that one officer, it saves, it helps the parents that are aware their kids get in school, whether they're working or what they're doing. But $100,000 in savings, that's a lot to pay for the officer. And with suspensions way down, that means the kids are learning something. They're out there, their school, and getting some out of education. Hope they can apply it in their future life. And it's all the good benefits goes along with it. I think I probably should know that by having an officer there, they're getting well worth the money on that. I agree. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, comments?
No, it's just it's a great deal, and it saves us an officer, and that officer also will be able to respond in the community if needed, and while they're still at the school. So it's a win-win-win-win all the way around. It's a good thing. So thank you, Chief, for all your efforts on that regard.
Mr. Waldron?
I too think it's working by all the statistics that are being put out. So I think we ought to stick with the winner. Thank you.
Agree. This will put a full-time resource officer at at Taft Union High School, Taft College, and now Taft City School District. Correct? And those agreements are partnerships within the city, which to me is the best way to go. Obviously it's working for the schools. It's allowing us to maintain a level of police officers in the city, which obviously will add to the protection of its citizens. So this is a positive thing all the way around, and I'm full support of it. So I don't know if you had anything to add, Chief. If not, we'll just move on. All right, thank you. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve and sign the MOU with the Taft City School District for a full-time paid school resource officer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, gentlemen? May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carr?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes, thank you. That passed on a 4-0 vote. That concludes our regular business items for tonight. We will move into closed session. The first item is a conference with schools legal counsel. Where'd that come from? I used to go to those. A conference with legal counsel, potential litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, Section B, one case, and item B, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54957.6, all units. We are recessed or adjourned to closed session.